I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time. I agree with you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable. And
welcome back to Freedom Forge. If you believe in truth, accountability, and cutting through the noise, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe right now, because what we're about to break down today is something you're not going to get straight from the mainstream media. Today, we're reacting to a Senate hearing focused on the Department of Justice, the handling of Jeffrey Epstein-related evidence, and explosive accusations about who is being protected, who is being ignored, and whether justice is actually being served. At its core, this hearing is supposed to be about uncovering the truth behind one of the darkest scandals in modern history, holding powerful individuals accountable, and delivering justice to victims of trafficking. But what we actually see in this exchange is something very different.
I have a UC.
Ms. Crockett from Texas is recognized for UC.
Thank you so much. Donald Trump's approval rating implodes on his strongest issue. This is from Newsweek today. It says 40% of people approve of Trump's handling of immigration and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Without objection,
that is a
admitted.
net drop.
Now I recognize the gentleman
20.
from California, Mr. Liu.
thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time. I agree with you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another
question. Can I
question.
answer your question about protecting
You
Prince
answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files, like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm reclaiming my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
President
evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
I'd like
stop
to
the clock.
reclaim my
sign
time.
Stop the clock.
the legislation.
Time.
This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to reclaim
ridiculous.
my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we say here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing
The
concludes.
gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He
Head.
doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his state.
She can't
Madam
just
Attorney
ad-lib
General.
stuff.
Going
I
after
did not ask a
Donald Trump.
question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think our next witness will be more.
Let's get into it. Right out of the gate, the tension is obvious. Lawmakers are pressing Attorney General Pam Bondi over decisions made regarding Epstein-related investigations. One of the key issues raised is the redaction of victim images, which Bondi confirms was done under congressional law to protect victims. That part is reasonable. No one disputes protecting victims. But then the conversation takes a sharp turn. A congressman begins pushing aggressively on why individuals like Prince Andrew were not investigated further, despite being associated with Epstein. He claims that under federal law, anyone who patronized Epstein's operation could be considered guilty of a crime. He even points to specific photos as evidence and accuses the Department of Justice of shutting down investigations prematurely. Now here's where we need to slow down and think critically. There's a difference between association and evidence. Just because someone appears in a photo or attended an event does not automatically make them guilty of crime. That's not how the legal system works. And if we abandon that standard, then anyone could be accused of anything without proof. But instead of sticking to facts, the hearing quickly devolves into something else entirely. The focus suddenly shifts to Donald Trump. And this is where it becomes very clear what's really going on. The congressman tries to tie Trump to Epstein simply based on past social interactions, asking whether there were underage girls present at events Trump attended. Bondi pushes back, calling it ridiculous, and stating clearly that there is no evidence Trump committed any crime. And that's a key point. No evidence. Not speculation. Not hearsay. Not politically motivated accusations. Evidence. But instead of accepting that answer, the congressman escalates. He accuses Bondi of lying under oath, introduces a witness statement that was never properly investigated, and even references a shocking and unverified claim about a supposed victim. This is where things cross a line, because what we're seeing here isn't a careful, fact-based pursuit of justice. It's a political ambush. It's throwing out the most explosive accusations possible in a public hearing, knowing full well that even if they're unproven, the damage is already done in the court of public opinion. And that's dangerous, because real victims deserve real justice, not to be used as props in political theater. Let's be honest about something. The Epstein case represents a massive failure across multiple administrations. The congressman even admits that figures like Merrick Garland, Bill Barr, and Alex Acosta all dropped the ball. So this is not a one-party issue. This is a systemic failure of the highest levels of power. But instead of focusing on fixing that system, what do we see? Selective outrage. When it's politically convenient, certain names are pushed into the spotlight. When it's not, silence. And that's exactly what frustrates everyday Americans. People don't want partisan games. They want answers. They want accountability. They want to know why, after all this time, so few people have been held responsible. Bondi's response, whether you agree with her or not, highlights something important. She emphasizes the need for actual evidence before prosecution. That's not a loophole. That's the foundation of justice. Because once you start prosecuting people based on accusations alone, you no longer have a justice system. You have a weaponized system, and that cuts both ways. Now, does that mean everything has been handled perfectly? Absolutely not. There are serious questions that still need to be answered. Why were certain leads not followed? Why do some documents remain redacted? Why do victims still feel like their voices haven't been fully heard? Those are valid questions. But shouting accusations in a hearing, interrupting responses, and turning it into a spectacle doesn't get us closer to the truth. It just deepens division and confusion. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. At one point, the congressman even called for Bondi to resign on the spot, claiming that no men have been held accountable despite over 1,000 victims. That's a powerful statement, but it also highlights the real issue. If the system has failed this badly, then the focus should be on rebuilding it, not scoring political points. Because at the end of the day, justice isn't about headlines. It's about results. And right now, the American people are still waiting. So what's the takeaway from all this? This hearing shows us that the Epstein case is still far from resolved. It shows us that there are deep frustrations on all sides. But it also shows us how easily serious issues can be turned into political weapons. If we truly care about justice, then we need transparency, yes. We need accountability, absolutely. But we also need fairness, due process, and a commitment to truth over narrative. Because once truth takes a back seat, nobody wins. Not the victims, not the public, not the country. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Freedom Forge. We're going to keep bringing you real analysis, cutting through the noise, and giving you the perspective that others won't. And I want to hear from you. Do you think this hearing brought us closer to the truth, or was it just more political theater? Drop your thoughts in the comments.